Good morning. It's interesting that when I first woke up and rolled over and looked at the clock, it was 1:44. And then sometime around approximately 2:30, I didn't really catch the exact time. I got up and I went to the meditation room, and when in the meditation room, in the middle of my meditation, I felt to open my eyes and look at the digital clock that I put in there a few months back, and it was 2:44. Yesterday, there were at least 3 or 4 times that I looked at the clock at 44, but today I'm starting at 3:33. I was tempted to wait till 3:44, but I certainly did not want to wait till 4:44. Those numbers are significant to me. The 3:33 is significant because it's 9, and that's a completion. And today, of course, is 12-12-12, which is 3:33, which is 9. So I think it's appropriate today that I started that because I think numbers are significant. Numbers are significant, we know, to the Illuminati. Why can't they be significant to those of us that want to create a world that works for everyone instead of a world that only works for a select few people where everyone else is a slave? Anyway, the title that I selected for today is "The Shift is About to Hit the Fan." Yes, I am showing that video tonight about spiritual awakening from Tom Shadyac, the director of the movie Bruce Almighty. It is also what many are saying will happen today, 12-12, as the collective consciousness shifts on planet Earth. Many around the world are consciously connecting in meditation, visualizing the new world we are co-creating. Hopefully the transformational energies will amp up as 12-21-12 approaches and passes. While I do not want to put too much emphasis on any particular date, I am joining with those that have a vision of a better world where truth and justice prevail, leading to peace on earth at long last. And I noticed that I forgot something that I read correctly, but it wasn't typed correctly. And let me save that. Yes, as I said, I am showing this movie, I Am. The Shift is About to Hit the Fan tonight. And Bruce Almighty was an interesting movie. A guy, I'm reading from the Google search that I did. A guy who complains about God too often is given almighty powers to teach him how difficult it is to run the world. And it was a comedy from 2003 starring Jim Carrey and Jennifer Aniston, with Tom Shadyac, as I said, the director. But the story of the I Am is Tom Shadyac's story, basically about his spiritual awakening. And I'm looking forward to watching that tonight with those friends of mine that choose to come and watch the movie with me and then discuss it afterwards. I'm hoping for a nice evening. In the meditation room this morning, I did more praying than I usually do. I often sit there and I visualize and I'm pretty much silent. Today, I actually spoke out loud, praying, and I wanted to ask God what's going to happen. But before the words could even come out of my mouth, I felt like something was coming to me. Like, what are you asking me for? What do you want? And then I found myself going through a litany of things, not for myself, but what we want as human beings. We want a world where truth is supreme, where justice and mercy can actually work, where compassion and love and cooperation exist, where people's bodies and minds and spirits are healed, where we finally recognize who we are. And we recognize that we're interconnected and that love is the only way home. Love is the only true religion. Any religion that talks about war and talks about competition with other religions and talks about we're right and everybody else is wrong, those are all false religions. And we need to come to a place in our hearts where we can see the love in our brothers and sisters that may wear a different label, may be a different color, may have a different sexual orientation, may come from a different part of the world, may have different customs than we have. But every single one of us has the same aspirations. So I went through a fairly long litany of things that I'd like to see for us. And when I got to the end of speaking that litany of things I'd like us to experience together, God says, well, what do you want for yourself? And I almost don't want to even say it, but this is what I said. This is what I said. I'd like to be able to share my love with a lady that is willing to share her love with me, that we are attracted to each other, and that we can experience the sharing of love together. That's a hard one because I added afterwards, but I don't want any relationship to interfere with what I've come to do. And what I've come to do, my ministry, if you will, is to help encourage people on the path of awakening. That's really what I came to do. It's what I've been doing for now I'm into my 24th month of the last months of 2 years since I got my video camera and began doing the videos. And I also asked for myself that we could come to an end of this crazy legal stuff that I've been involved in since July, August of 2005. I'd like to stop having to play lawyer. I'd like there to be justice on earth for everybody. But in my particular case that I've been fighting this year, I'd like to be friends with the judge and the prosecutor, and I'd like to have the whole thing ended. Although, quite honestly, yesterday I was working on papers to escalate it into a counterclaim, and I was preparing my notice of counterclaim. I'd like to not have to be focused on fighting for justice. And I'd like to be able to experience justice, not fight for it. So these are some of the things that have been going on with me this morning. Seeing the 44 and the first couple of hours of being awake. And my prayer and my meditation, listening to the rain outside. It's been raining a lot in the middle of the night, which is when I'm usually up. It's been raining a lot here lately. I'm going to have to get my grass mowed in December probably. I know those of you that live up north, that's ridiculous, but it's probably what's going to happen here in Florida. Had it mowed in November, or was it October? Last. Anyway, as I think of all the people around the world whose hearts are crying out for real change, not the kind of change politicians promise that is all BS, but a change of leadership in our world. Instead of having people that want to reduce the population, which is amazing to me how many spiritual people think that the world is overpopulated. I don't get into arguments with them, but I do run into them from time to time in discussions. And they actually think that reducing the world's population is something that's very necessary because the earth is overpopulated. I made the statement in a discussion group last Friday that the earth could easily support 20 billion people if we just used our resources for peace and for the benefit of mankind instead of for warfare and competition and craziness. We could literally make all of the deserts bloom. We literally could change the face of the earth with our technology. We literally could provide free energy to every man, woman, and child on the planet. We literally could provide healing modalities that people could heal. Of course, in the current structure where people think that the world is overpopulated, and they think that the ideal population is 500 million people or 500 million people. You know, when you have that kind of attitude, no wonder the pharmaceutical and the medical industries don't want cures for cancer and other debilitating diseases. They want people to die off. That's the game plan. But people don't believe that. A lot of people still don't believe that. They still think that they're looking for a cure for cancer. I spoke a couple of days ago of my friend Bob Bowman, who his wife and his family is basically resigned to the fact that he's not going to be in this world much longer, that cancer is going to win the battle. I didn't go into it with them. It's not my place. I don't know them that well to actually have a conversation with them, and I'm not going to push my ideas on anybody else. If they're drawn to listen to my video, they're drawn to listen to my video. That's the way I do it, but I don't like to interfere in people's lives. But I know there's cures for cancer. There's lots of cures for cancer. And they're not expensive. And they don't involve taking idiotic drugs or doing chemotherapy or radiation therapy. They don't involve surgery. I know that. I know that. But people are where they are, and I do also know that people that face these battles with health issues and other issues are often brought to greater awareness, and there's greater grace that's available to them if they will but open up and look at things with fresh eyes, the eyes of the heart, and stop fighting something. I remember the story of the woman who battled a brain tumor, and she couldn't win. And finally, she felt Spirit say to her, accept the tumor. And she gave it permission to stay as long as it needed to. And then 6 months later, the tumor was gone because she adopted a different attitude toward it. Instead of seeing it as an enemy, she saw it as an ally that was teaching her something that was valuable and giving her a gift. This is how we have to start looking at life. And I hope that as you visualize today the new world, the world that works for everyone, the world that finally is able to reach a place of peace, that you will be willing to open up your heart, to open up your mind, to open up your eyes and ears, to see and hear and understand things from a different perspective. It's not about competitiveness. It's not about making other people wrong. It's not about condemnation or judgment. It is about discernment. It is about recognizing that people that say that they love God and are going about trying to force other people to believe in God the way they do and and adopt the same set of creed and same set of dogma and doctrines that they believe, and then they condemn everybody that isn't in that camp and doesn't see it their way. You know that, hey, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about love. It's supposed to be about accepting one another. And love is the only environment that encourages growth. So as you meditate today, as you pray today, as you think today on the situation that we find ourselves in as brothers and sisters in a world that's been insane for far too long. As you think about these things, open your heart, open your mind. Please, please consider how much it would be a benefit to everyone if only you yourself would stop fighting yourself and stop fighting your brothers and sisters and just accept everybody, accept yourself and accept everybody else right where we are. And believe it or not, that's not fatalistic. In fact, that's the only way we can actually create transformation. Because first we have to accept where we are, and then we can be transformed into what we're capable of being. But it doesn't come by resistance, it comes by surrender and acceptance and inclusion. I leave you with these thoughts this morning on 12-12-12. The shift is about to hit the fan. I pray that's true. And I pray that we all experience it more and more each day as this year of 2012 winds down. Again, thank you for listening. Namaste.